Do you like FNaF 1, the game with the funny fat bird coming after you with his lovely friends? Because I have good news for you. It has returned with a big new twist. The animatronics move in real time, but everything else is just like you remember it. It just has a new OC, new story, new cameras, a new minimap sequence, new cutscenes, new boss battle nights, new phone calls, and new music. Pretty much the whole game is different, but it's exactly like the original. Can't even tell the difference. And remember when I said the animatronics move in real time? They don't. Actually, they never did. For the past year, everyone has seen a fan game being shown by YouTubers who find any opportunity to clickbait people, with statements like, "This FNAF game goes beyond anything any fan game has ever done," or "This is the greatest fan game ever." And I feel bad for you if you think they're being honest. These guys call a new fan game something groundbreaking every single month. They just want views. All of them highlighted the same thing that the title of this game does. The animatronics move in real time. But is that really true? No. This game is just as real time as the original FNAF 1. Everything that you see in the original FNAF games, as well as a huge portion of the fan games such as the cameras and the jump scares, are pre-rendered. It's like taking a photo of some 3D models. They are static and 2D renders, so these games are actually 2D. This is also the main reason why the characters teleport in the cameras essentially. FNAF in real time is also pre-rendered. All the movement animations that you watch on the cameras are in fact a bunch of video files. So not only is the game not 3D, but it's also just about as real time as every other pre-rendered FNAF game. Now I need to clarify that it's perfectly fine to make use of pre-rendered assets. If anything, you make your game playable on even more computers by reducing the processing power required. The problem lies in the title, the marketing, and every mainstream YouTuber claiming otherwise. This game is not in real time. Some people heavily insist that the game is 3D and in real time, however. Maybe you can trick people who don't know much about this stuff, but I'm a game developer. I know how these games work. You can't trick me. To be fair, I couldn't care less about any of this if the game itself were good. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Let me first say what I like about the game. The animations. Yes, there are lots of them. Watching the cameras isn't so dull thanks to the characters actually moving, even though you don't need to watch them. I will get to that soon. I like the FEC where you have access to all nights and cutscenes in one place. It's convenient. I like the fact that you can enter the bathrooms in the minimap. Looking at the toilets made me wonder whether in the future someone makes a fan game where you examine the poop of the customers in order to figure out what their daily diet is, and update your menu accordingly. I'm giving you too many ideas. There are lots of details in the game too, from the office lights flickering when you're low on power, to tiny things such as the drawing in the safe room providing narrative material. And I'm afraid that's where my praises end. Now, what I dislike about the game. FNAF in real time is the most scripted fan game I have ever played. I have never played a fan game so afraid to take a single risk. I'm talking about the game pulling the monitor up on its own in order to show you an event, more than once, and sometimes not even letting you pull it down. It keeps forcing you to watch certain things and not letting you to just play the game. I know some of the things that it forces you to watch are meant to be essential information, but there are much better ways to provide info to the player than taking the control of the game away. It's jarring and annoying, especially if you replay one of these nights and you already know what's going to happen. It tries to add variety, but it only makes the game feel synthetic. The gameplay is not just easy, but also exploitable. It's super easy to beat once you find the dominant strategy which eliminates all the remaining tension. Characters hiding in the shadows and not appearing on any of the cameras is a horrible idea that only sounds good on paper. If they aren't going to be on the cameras half the time, then what's the point of using them? You don't need to watch them anyway. Only thing that matters is whether they're at your office or not. This defeats the purpose of another terrible mechanic in the game too, which is the camera swapping. Supposedly an anti-exploit mechanic, all it does is changing the position of the cameras you have used. For a moment you're confused and then everything is back to normal. Also questionable how they put a boss battle type of gameplay in the third night, which makes the next night's play and feel very boring in comparison. The minimap is unnecessary, it stretches your playthrough just for the sake of it. They should have made it optional instead of forcing the player to roam around the map in order to continue the game. Tribute to the Night 7 warning. Alternatively, they could make it the bonus of beating the game, so you have this whole minimap to explore, find narrative clues, and 100% the game if desired. Then there is Brother. I don't understand this character. After all, he's rarely in the game. There is very little in the game about his backstory, design, etc. His presence in the game seems forced and with no good reason for it. The rest are smaller problems that I won't get into, but the biggest problem with the game overall is that it's anything but FNaF 1. Yeah, it's the same location and characters, but the gameplay is different, the tone is different, the music and ambience are different, there are new characters, new plot, new minimap sequence, new cutscenes. This game has sucked all the subtlety and atmosphere out of the original game. I would argue that a big portion of the hatred towards this game could be prevented if they were to simply make a standalone game of their own, instead of a remake of FNaF 1, while not calling it in real time. The root cause of many of these problems is the game's central focus being on its single selling point, which happens to be nothing but a gimmick. It may be cool to watch the characters move for a bit, but if the gameplay is boring, the atmosphere is inconsistent, the humor is forced, and overall the game is just not great, then these animations can only keep you playing for so long. But honestly, if you think about it, the ultimate goal was never to make a good game in the first place. The same actually applies to many fan games out there. Fan games are non-profit projects, so if your game is not going to make you money, then what is the reward for making it? Having fun and showing your love to the official franchise? Yeah, it could be that, and it's respectable. But sometimes that's not the motivation. It's something else. It's Clout. Several trailers, music videos, demo streams by YouTubers, and merch? Such an extensive level of marketing for a free fan game is very atypical, and it's not done for any reason other than catching not only the players' attention, but also more importantly, the YouTubers. Not for no reason YouTubers like FusionZ Gamer are a voice actor for the challenges after all. There is this horrible mindset among fan game developers where instead of thinking about how they can make a good game, they think about how they can make a popular game. Instead of working on the game and improving it, they spend loads of time on teasers and trailers only to rack up views and follows. Even though with just a little bit of intelligence, you realize that the game is going to get it all anyway if it's a good one. FNaF in Real Time is a great example of a fan game where the priority is getting as much recognition as possible. This game was marketed more than it was developed. You can take a look at their YouTube channel and see for yourself. What makes me even more certain about this is the demo. It was unstable, buggy, and hardly balanced. But that didn't matter. Look at the YouTubers playing it. When the full game came out, little to no complaints from people about the game were addressed. If the point of the demo were to take feedback from people and improve the game, then you would actually see improvements. To me, it seems like they simply got impatient and dropped the demo in order to watch YouTubers play it and spark further engagement. That is actually something that I've done too, back in 2020. We published the pre-release version of our game solely because I wanted to watch people play it while we finish it. We changed nothing based on people's feedback in the full game, because that was never the point. Same game, same problems. That I believe is what happened to FNaF in Real Time as well. But as I said, this whole thing applies to many fan games out there. You see the amount of fan games where instead of gameplay screenshots you keep getting teasers? Or the games that try to be photorealistic or one of the biggest? They are all fan games that are made for competition. Not many of them try to be a fun game, and these games are only going to take longer and longer to finish. Because they look at the following base growing in size all the time, and it makes them feel obliged to keep adding more and more to their game in order to meet some imaginary standards. Please stop doing this. How did people respond to the release of FNaF in Real Time? Well, both sides took things out of proportion, as per usual. On one side, you have people who love it and make all sorts of stupid excuses in order to defend the game. One that I've seen being made frequently is that video games are hard to make. Don't take these people seriously, because as soon as they stumble upon a game that they dislike, they forget how hard it is to make a video game. On the other side, you have people who find any reason imaginable to hate on the game, even going as far as replying to every person who likes the game on GameJolt, just to tell them why they hate it. Very few times do you see a balance where someone steps in who is simultaneously respectful and honest. I tried to do that in this video, and now I need to make one final and very important statement. Real Time Studio did not fail. It's important to understand that making a bad game is natural and a part of the learning process. Your first few games are going to be bad and you can't do shit about it, other than making and learning from them so you get to make better games later on. Many people don't even finish a single game, but they did. That has already pushed them ahead of loads of people, and from there they can start making improvements. So, they released the game and many people disliked it. What should they do? They can evaluate their criticism towards the game and make sure they don't repeat the same mistakes. The game is not actually in real time? Okay, let's change the title to something less misleading. or make our next game actually in real time. The game is easy and exploitable? Sure, let's make the animatronics more aggressive and see how people are exploiting the gameplay so we can balance it out. People don't like Brother? Okay, the character didn't resonate with people as much as we hoped, so let's remove him or update his design to something more interesting. There is always room for improvements for anyone out there, and the only way to improve is to find the flaws in your projects. But it's also important to handle online reactions reasonably, in order to not turn people against you. You shouldn't lie to your audience. You shouldn't deny all criticism as hatred. You shouldn't rationalize your mistakes. You shouldn't victimize yourself. You shouldn't mistreat or cause conflicts among your team members. And you shouldn't market your game more than you make it. You've already accomplished the recognition part, so why not make sure that everyone likes you and your work as well? It's okay to make bad games, because they are what teach you to make good games later on. It's always a pleasure of mine to witness a developer make a good game that people enjoy playing, and also be respected for it. But kissing their ass instead of giving them honest feedback doesn't help. I hate to break it to you. Thanks for watching.